Hi everyone, it's weather for Weather Geeks time. We're going to take an in-depth look at the weather on this Tuesday. We're going to take a look at mostly the next few days because there's some weather headaches on the horizon, some forecasting challenges that we have ahead of us. So I'm going to give you kind of the behind-the-scenes look at some of the stuff I'm looking at as I try to figure this out. This afternoon we've had a few peaks of sun here and there. I'm recording this just before 2 o'clock p.m. and there's some intervals of sun in Lawrence County. We've had a few around Mahoning and Trumbull County as well. Radar is nice and quiet. I think that'll change later on. Meanwhile, our big East Coast storm continues to ride up the coast with heavy flooding rains from New York City up to Boston. It's all rain there. It does turn into snow once you're far enough inland, and especially across the southern tier of New York and heading over towards the Catskills and up into the Green and White Mountains. This is going to be a pretty healthy snowstorm with some places getting close to a foot of heavy, wet, gloppy snow. But it is tracking far enough to the west that it's rained pretty far inland this afternoon. Now, as far as temperatures this afternoon, it's not bad outside, despite the clouds. It's actually fairly seasonable, even just a hair above average, 41, 42 degrees in most locations this afternoon. So we take a look at the nation as a whole. There's some cold air on the map. It's up across the Midwest, as you would expect, where temperatures this afternoon are mostly in the lower 20s, including around the Twin Cities. That's not far from average for them, really. So overall, a pretty typical December day in much of the country. They're going to be slammed with more wet weather out west over the next few days. They need the rain in California, but they don't need it so hot and heavy, so all at one time. So flooding will be a concern in parts of California again before the week is through. Let's focus on our local weather because, again, things are going to get a little interesting here, I think, as we head through time. Focusing on the real near term, though, meaning tonight, I think the radar will become a little more active as we head towards evening. As a little moisture tries to get going on the backside of that storm, a little lake enhancement, and I think early this evening, anything that falls will be liquid. So maybe you see a rain shower or a sprinkle here and there after sunset this evening up through mid to late evening. A bit deeper into the overnight, though, as we head towards midnight and beyond, I think the profile of the atmosphere will turn colder and supportive of some sort of light snow or flurries overnight tonight here and there. Now, does someone get a candy coating out of this tonight? I think that's a possibility. Not everyone will, but a couple of these bands are a little bit beefier than others. Someone might get a little coating, especially on car tops and rooftops and that sort of thing. Now, the bigger ticket item is not during the day tomorrow. I think there'll be some flurries around, but tomorrow night. I'm going to fast forward here to tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Now, the big question is here at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. Let me throw on the surface pressures here tomorrow evening, give you a sense where the center of this East Coast storm will have gone at that point. It's going to rev up and kind of bend back to the north and the west. Hopefully the surface pressures will load up. There it is. Center of pressure tomorrow evening, kind of back through here, with moisture getting thrown back into the cold air across Pennsylvania, western New York, and yes, perhaps even northeast Ohio. Now, this is the NAM model I'm showing you, and this is the most aggressive model throwing the moisture back into northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania as well. Here's the middle of the night, Wednesday night at about 1 a.m., actually technically Thursday morning. Getting some of this snow back to about I-79 and perhaps even a little farther west than that during the middle of the night. But then during the day Thursday, this is real interesting what it does here. This is a pretty healthy looking band of snow it tries to set up, generally oriented like this. So this would be mostly a concern for Youngstown north and east. Now, other models don't place the band quite that far south and west, or I should say just west. And that's why the forecast is a challenge, because the models are not in agreement on this. Worst case scenario, if the NAM ends up having the right idea here, someone in our viewing area, especially, maybe over in Mercer County and northeastern Trumbull County, someone could get a half a foot of snow out of this if the NAM model has the right idea. My suspicion is it's overdone a little bit, but it does bear watching. Well, what are some of the other models showing? Here's the GFS model, another one of the United States produced models for Thursday afternoon. Let's stop at Thursday afternoon is right here. Late Thursday afternoon into the evening. Center of our low here the core of that band is set up kind of just east of Lake Huron and then over the eastern end of Lake Erie, and it's more of a problem for Erie, PA, southwestern New York, but not necessarily for our area. If this were to have the right idea as to where that band sets up, this would be a non-event for places, especially from Youngstown south and southwest. Even northeastern Trumbull County and Mercer County wouldn't see much at all, maybe an inch or two at most, if the GFS had the right idea. The European model, which I can't really show you, is kind of in between the NAM and the GFS ideas. It brings the band far enough west that there is some accumulations, but not as high as the NAM model. Here's the SREF, Short Range Ensemble Forecast. If you're unfamiliar with this, this is a version of one of the computer models that is an ensemble forecast, and what that means is they tweak the weather parameters in the initial phase of the model 21 different times and then keep running it. And those tweaks result in different outcomes. The tweaks are made in order to kind of account for errors in a model initialization and the fact that we're never going to be able to model the atmosphere perfectly, so you tweak things to kind of account for those inevitable errors. Anyway, long story short, out of the 21 lines here, there's a lot that are focused down in the inch or two range. This is for the airport in Vienna. Legend over here on the left. Some of the members are as high as 5 or 6 inches. There's a few up there. And then the mean, or the average, is this thicker, dark line that runs right in through here, and it's about 2.5 for Vienna. The implication being then that there would be some higher totals north and east of where the Youngstown Warren Airport is located. In fact, if you look up towards Crawford County, towards Meadville, let's bring up what the model is saying for them. The mean up in Meadville, the dark line here, is up around 5 inches or so, with a cluster of members up around 10 inches. So, there's some uncertainty here, but it does show you that the amounts are likely to ramp up the farther north and east away from downtown Youngstown you are. It depends on where the band tries to set up. Here's our in-house, what's called the RPM model. And here's the accumulations it's spitting out through Thursday evening. The lightest shade of blue, that's 2 inches. That 2-inch line does get down to about Canfield, New Middletown, much of Lawrence County. That's the 2-inch line. Then the 6-inch line is kind of out of our viewing area up in Crawford County, up into Ashtabula County, and there's even a lollipop of higher amounts over here in the snowbelt of Geauga County. I suspect this is a little overdone that far to the west. But anyway, the bottom line for the RPM model would say that we have to allow for 1 to 3 inches from Canfield up to about Warren and Vienna and Sharon, and then maybe 3 to 6 inches for the northeastern part of Trumbull and the northern half of Mercer. That's if that model is to be believed. Weather Prediction Center, NOAA, in other words, the National Weather Service. This looks overdone to me, but it does have the odds. This is the odds. Whoops, I didn't mean to zoom in there. The odds of 2 inches or more accumulating through Thursday evening. Youngstown is right here, and we would be in the 70 to 80% odds of more than 2 inches in Youngstown, with 80 to 90% odds over towards Newcastle and up towards Mercer. I think this is overdone, especially this far to the south, but it shows you that the National Weather Service is, kind of gung-ho on the idea that there's going to be some accumulating snow around. So with that in mind, what are we going to do with our forecast? I haven't finalized it yet, but my suspicion is on the news this evening, you'll see me go out with a forecast that looks sort of like this. A 1-inch line that comes down to maybe about here. There's Youngstown right there. That's 1 inch. And then a 3-inch or more line that kind of goes down maybe something like that, covering the northeastern part of Trumbull, the northern half of Mercer. That's the 3-inch line. And then 6 inches or more, most likely out of our viewing area, eastern Ashtabula, Crawford County, maybe the northeastern tip of Mercer and heading over towards Oil City. It's going to look something like that. I've still got more information to look at. But bottom line for you, we may have some travel headaches on Thursday or late Wednesday night into Thursday, especially from Youngstown north and east. Much more on social media this evening, much more on weather for Weather Geeks tomorrow, and much more on my TV forecast tonight at 6 and 11. I'll see you then.